Hey, what's going on, fam? It's Kyle Henderson here at BamaInsider.com. It's game day, big game day for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Got a big schedule for you today. Thank you very much for joining me on today. I'll take your calls. Call-in line number is at the bottom of the screen. Call-in line is open. 205-850-0883 is the call-in line number. So how this is going to work, I'll take your calls. I'll take your score predictions this morning from 10 to 11. And then we'll come back at 12 p.m. as Sage Ryan is set to make his college announcement. Will it be LSU? Will it be Alabama? Stay tuned. We'll have Andrew Bone live for that. That'll be at 12 p.m. Central Time. And, really exciting to see what will happen with Sage Ryan. It's kind of been back and forth over these last 24 hours. And it's going to be a monster pickup for either team, right? Alabama, you look at the class that they've already developed and the defensive backs that they have on board, especially just landing JaQuincy McKinstry. Could they land Sage Ryan? Stay tuned at 12 p.m. My name is Kyle Henderson, BamaInsider.com. 205-850-0883 is the call-in line number. As we wait for your calls, let's kind of look at this matchup between Alabama and Mississippi State. The game will be taking place today at 6 p.m., and you got to look at this game is, even though it's 33 points spread for the Alabama Crimson Tide, let's kind of compare these two teams to the right of your screen. Alabama now 5-0 on the season, coming off a 48-17 victory over Tennessee in Knoxville. Mississippi State on the other side, they started off strong. They beat LSU to start the year, 44-34, but the downward trajectory continues for Mike Leach in his first year at Mississippi State. You see a loss to Arkansas, 21-14. Also lost to Kentucky, and then also lost to Texas A&M. So, what will Mississippi State bring today against Alabama? Nick Saban talked about the fact that he expects Mississippi State to throw the football 60, 70 times per game. And, will we see that? And good morning to you as well. It's kind of like, coffee with Kyle, right? I have my coffee right here and just enjoying this beautiful day. It was just over 50 degrees today in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which was really nice, and just a great, morning here for college football. And if Alabama can pick up another commitment today, all the better for the Crimson Tide, right? As we continue to look inside the series, let's get a better look on this. Bring this up for you. As you can see, the last meeting between these two teams was obviously last year, with Alabama winning 38-7. Overall, this is the 105th meeting between the two teams. Alabama leads all time 84-17 with 3 ties. In Tuscaloosa, Alabama leads 45-8-1. Series notes, Alabama and Mississippi State will meet for the 105th time on Saturday. The Crimson Tide leads all-time series, as we just talked about. And we'll see what happens today. I think, overall, this Alabama Crimson Tide team certainly, the favorite and the big favorite going into this game. And I think playing kind of the storyline that I think, good morning, everybody. What's up, Cam? Appreciate you checking in. Good morning. I hope you have a great day today. What's up, Terrence? I see you. Thank you so much. Terrence has it 42-17. Post your score predictions in the comment box. I'll put them up on the screen. What's up, S. Jacob B? Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for joining me today. We also got another score prediction right here. 56-17 is the call. Again, I said the spread is like, what is it? I think it's 33 points going into this game. I wanted to bring up the overall stats kind of going into this game, and so you can kind of look at them with me kind of going into this game. And I think I should have this. All right. Take off I do all the producing like by myself. So, if it takes me a little bit of time to like get something off the screen, it's like I got a million things going on. Also, super chats greatly appreciated. I got to pay for the call line and everything else right here on BamaInsider. So all the super chats certainly, contribute to the overall cause right here on BamaInsider. As you can see, scoring wise, the Alabama Crimson Tide scoring 48.4 points per game. Opponents scoring 26.4. That's been down over the last couple of weeks. Points off turnovers. Surprisingly, Alabama has 45 points off turnovers. Last week, we saw Malachi Moore with the scoop and score against Tennessee. Let's see. The rushing yardage for Alabama, just under 1,000. And then you have Tennessee at, not Tennessee. The overall yardage against Alabama is 736 passing yards. Alabama has 1,989 passing yards, and the opponent's averaging right now, or 279 per game, which is almost 1,400 yards. Let's kind of scroll down and kind of look at the overall team stats going into this game. Again, the call line is open, and let's make sure that's on the screen. Call line is right there, 205-850-0883 if you want to call. And post your talk about this upcoming game with Mississippi State right here on Bama Insider. As we look at the overall stats, maybe I'll just do that so you guys can see it a little bit better. We see that the leading rusher for Alabama is Najee Harris, 103 carries for a net of 595. You have Brian Robinson, who has 203 yards off 35 carries. And we've talked about him several times, how he continues to play very well, throughout this early part of the season. And then we saw I think we saw improvement from Trey Sanders in this last game on the season. He has 18 carries for 54 yards. Of course, Najee Harris with 14 touchdowns. I think we need to continue to highlight Najee Harris as much as possible. I mean, what Najee Harris is doing is pretty unbelievable. It's like having a quiet monster season, if that makes sense. Mac Jones, I mean, the efficiency is pretty remarkable, 212.75. Also has 1,900 yards passing with 12 touchdowns. Bryce Young, we got to see a splash of him against Tennessee. Thought he looked very good. We talked about that on Bama Insider. He was 3 for 5, I think, with 80 yards, something like that. His efficiency, 115. And of course, it's been a small sample size of mostly all these freshmen. I mean, I think when you look to the freshmen that have played for Alabama, a majority has been on the defensive side, but we haven't seen too many freshmen step onto the field in this early season for the Crimson Tide in 2020. Receiving wise, you have Devontae Smith, 45 receptions, 556 yards. You also have Jalen Waddle with 557 yards. Of course, Jalen Waddle now out what could be the entire season. We don't know how he's going to heal up, but from listening to Nick Saban, kind of talk about the situation, it doesn't look good for Jalen Waddle to return for this season, which is obviously unfortunate. John Mechie looks like the next man up that should step into that number 2 receiving role. He has 20 receptions for 499 yards with 3 touchdowns. And then Najee Harris, the next receiver, I think he catches the football, just as well as anyone, right? 14 receptions for 147 yards and no touchdowns on the season. And, we got a chance to see Slade Bolden, as you see right there, 6 receptions for 94 yards. And, I thought he was productive. And I think when you kind of talk about a player like Slade Bolden and what he's going to do and what type of player he could be for Alabama, I think he's going to be very productive. I think he's a guy who, catches the football very well. I think he runs great routes. I mean, it's going to be almost impossible to replace a player like, Jalen Waddle. But I think Slade Bolden could be a guy that could still be very effective. Hey, if you guys could hit the thumbs up button, I'd really appreciate it. That helps get the channel out to other Alabama Crimson Tide football fans. Again, all super chats come to the host today, Kyle Henderson. So I'll be on, mostly all day. I got this show today, and then we got, Sage Ryan's commitment at 12 o'clock, and then we'll be on for the watch party, and then this evening for the post-game show. So busy day at Bama Insider headquarters right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. What's up, Gregory? I see you. Thank you so much. Good morning. I'm glad you're on the show. Luke has it 47-17, Luke Ferguson. And Cam, how about this score? Cam has it 100-0 in favor of Alabama. Austin's highlights has it 52-24. Strong avatar game, in my opinion. Always, I have so much respect for Jalen Hurts, right? And then you got SB is S Jacoby 51-21. And Gregory has it 45-17. I think that could be potentially, something that I would go along the lines with, and let's see, checking out all this other stuff right here on Bama Insider. So a big day. I mean, I think kind of when you look at, everyone's excited about 12 o'clock, and I think everybody's kind of almost overlooking this particular game against Mississippi State. And I don't think you should do that. I think anytime you face a team like, that is coached by Leach, I'm not sure exactly what to expect, right? I think this is the first year that he's, been coaching at Mississippi State, and he's going to provide some things that Alabama quite simply hasn't seen before. I know there's kind of a mass exodus, and we got our first caller on the line, and we'll take it right now. Hey, good morning, Hunter. What's going on, buddy? Appreciate you calling in.
Hey, man, how's it going?
Good, man. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And you're on, man. Take it away.
Well, I think the score today, I'm going to say 45 to 17.
All right, Hunter has it 45-17. Okay. I mean, just as I was saying before you called in, which I appreciate. I mean, I was saying this isn't a game that people should be overlooking, just because I think that Alabama hasn't seen an offense that throws it 60 to 70 times. Do you agree with that? I mean, because I feel like everybody's just kind of almost yawning at this game, but we don't. I mean, it's one game at a time, and I mean, we saw the secondary get beat over the top last week.
Well, it's I think when I watched Mississippi State play this year, they have some guys, on the outside that they can make plays. I just don't know. I mean, I've seen our defensive backs have been kind of inconsistent, a little bit inconsistent this year. So is it going to be a game where they know coming into this game they're going to throw a lot, and so they're going to be more focused? I don't think that we expected what we got with Ole Miss. I don't think none of our players expected that for that kind of a game. And so maybe going into this game, they will kind of expect some of this over the top throwing and maybe be a little bit more locked down.
Yeah, we'll see. We're on the line with Hunter from Alabama. I appreciate you calling in, Hunter, this morning. I hope you have a great Saturday. A lot going on today in the world of Alabama football, and it'd be interesting to see if they could get Sage Ryan today. Kind of when we look at this game overall, is your biggest concern that Alabama's defense looked a little bit suspect against Tennessee? Or maybe we point to the fact that there was no pass rush, or is there something else you're looking at? I think we haven't talked about throughout this week leading up to this game that Mississippi State has a pretty good defense, but it's almost like, yeah, so what? Alabama's offense is just incredible. I mean, is there any other storylines kind of going into this game that you want to talk about, Hunter?
I think, I just want to see improvement from our defense. Every week we've seen a little bit of improvement. And I think our defense is good enough to stop them. It's just, are we going to make those week-to-week improvements like we need to? We've seen other Nick Saban defenses where they've had years where they've come out looking a little bit suspect. But as games go on, they've gotten better. So, if we can make those adjustments I think we did a pretty good job last week on some things, but there's also some things we didn't do as well. So, it's just with this young defense, I mean, it's not really young, but it is relatively young defense. We just got to, like guys like Will Anderson then have to, learn and just progress and just, continue to be developed. But I don't think we have, too much to worry about. I think we got to play with, we got to take them serious. I mean, but we can't just say, oh, it's Mississippi State. We got to play, with that Alabama standard.
On the line with Hunter from Alabama. Call in line is at the bottom of the screen, 205-850-0883, talking Alabama versus Mississippi State. Remember, it is Nick Saban's birthday today on October 31st. So, it's a national holiday. I know it's Halloween, but, it's also Nick Saban's birthday. So maybe two national holidays on the same day, right? Hunter, as we kind of get to your final thought, give me your MVP for this game and what you think and kind of the yardage total that Mac Jones has today against Mississippi State.
I say he has plus 200. I think the MVP of the game will be Najee Harris. We've seen him just ball. I mean, this year. So maybe, I think he comes with the run game today. On another note, right quick, we got that Sage Ryan is announcing his commitment today. I think we have a chance to land him, but I think it's more of I think LSU has the edge here going into this commitment, but who knows?
Yeah, just as Hunter said, we will be on live at 12 p.m. With Andrew Bone to talk about Sage Ryan as he makes his commitment today between Alabama and LSU. Well, thank you so much, Hunter. We'll definitely catch up with you later on in the post-game show following the game.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. That's our good friend Hunter out in Alabama. I appreciate it. him calling in, getting the show started. Kyle Henderson, BamaInsider.com. Just as Hunter alluded to, today, Sage Ryan will be making his college announcement at 12 p.m. Central Time. We will be here live for Ryan's announcement right here on Bama Insider. I'll have Andrew Bone, and we'll break it all down. I mean, it looks like, just as Hunter was saying, I mean, it's either way. Last time I talked to Bone, he felt that LSU might have that last minute edge, and then there was Alabama. So we've been going back and forth, about this particular prospect. I mean, everyone would love to have Sage Ryan jump aboard. I felt that it was going to be LSU for a long time, just from listening to Andrew. But Alabama clearly made a giant, play towards the end of this, recruitment. So we'll have to see what happens with Sage Ryan. So that is coming up at 12 p.m. right here on Bama Insider. So definitely stay with us. Appreciate you guys joining. Call line is open. It's at the bottom of the screen. I'll take your calls and we'll talk about this specific matchup between Alabama and Mississippi State. Hunter felt that it's going to be a lot of Najee Harris today. There's a call-in line number 205-850-0883. Appreciate all the super chats as well. We'll be back at 12 o'clock, and then, we'll also have the watch party. I'll be joined by my good buddy Trey Yanity, and then after the game, we'll have the after party, which I call it the post-game call-in show right here on Bama Insider. Yeah, I mean, I think Sage could go either way. I think that's what everybody's, kind of it's pins and needles today, right? And I think if Alabama was not to get him, I think they're going to be fine. I mean, you still look at a guy like Terran Arnold that Alabama could potentially add. But, from everything that I hear about, Sage Ryan, I mean, definitely would be a gigantic pickup for Alabama. And what about the year that Carl Scott's having, for Alabama? I mean, he's been having a tremendous year on the recruitment. And, but not to talk about recruiting. We'll do that here at 12. We're talking about Alabama versus Mississippi State, which takes place tonight at 6 p.m. Alabama favored by 33 in this game, which is just remarkable. We got our next caller on the line, and we'll take that right now. Hey, good morning. Thank you so much for calling in. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from? You know what? Try to come in again. I think you're. We have a bad connection. Just call right back, and I'll take your call.
I have my TV. Jeff Stapleton from Selma, Alabama.
All right, Jeff, you're on the line, man. Go ahead, buddy.
I like to allude about that caller that about the Sage Ryan guy. I believe he's going to come to Alabama. I mean, look at LSU; they're imploding.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're 3-2. I just think that he's going to come. And on the game today, Alabama's going to run wild. Defense is getting better every week. I said that last week when I talked to you. I just think that Alabama's just going to show out, and Mike Leach is going to get embarrassed. So,
on
defense.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Sorry. On defense, Alabama's definitely getting better. I mean, look at we didn't have a scoop. We didn't have a scoop in the last game where where they ran it in for a touchdown on the defensive side. So that's number 13 is balling out right now. And then you got Will Anderson that's coming in. I want him to get his first sack, because once he gets his first sack, he's going to be an animal and just keep going. Offense, we already know about offense. And I'm going to leave it to you, man. You have a good one. Roll Tide. I'm looking forward to the game.
All right. Appreciate it, Jeff. Thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate it. And we'll catch up with you after the game, okay?
All right, brother. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide to you. That's Jeff out in Selma, Alabama. I appreciate him calling in. We'll take our next call just like that. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, it's Cam Best, man, calling in from Dothan, Alabama today.
What's up, buddy? Good morning. Thank you so much for joining the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Hey, listen, man, it's like you said, the Bama defense has improved the last 2 weeks. And, whether fans agree or not, Nick Saban is looking for a shutout. I mean, he loves when the defense shuts the offense down. And they scored 0 points.
Yeah, I think when you look at the Alabama defense, I'm kind of, I'm kind of caught because sometimes when I look at, like, we've talked all week kind of about the lack of pass rush on this team. But besides that, I think we have seen Alabama's defense, start to, the trajectory is now kind of getting better. And I think once we get to that midseason point, which I consider after this week, I think we'll start to really understand about this defense. Now they're going to get tested today over the top, across the middle. I mean, they're going to throw it everywhere, which I think is a great opportunity for Alabama's secondary to get better.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, Nick Saban, he's always wanting to shut a team out, and like you were saying, Mississippi State's kind of been on a decline past couple weeks, and we know their method of how they win football games of passing 60, 70 times a game, and with their top running back that just left, he opted out. I don't see them running the ball a whole lot, and I think that's going to make them one-dimensional. And if Nick Saban can get a team one-dimensional, there's going to be problems, and it ain't going to go good for the other team, man. And I think Bama's going to win big today, man.
Yeah, I know. Just as I was saying at the beginning of the show, I mean, Alabama favored by 33 points in that one. I actually went against that. I just think that's a large margin, which I don't usually do. I pretty much roll with Alabama all the time. That's not, being like an Alabama homer. I just think that this team is just that good. I think that the offense will be unstoppable. However, people have been saying that Mississippi State's defense is pretty good, but man, the way that Mac Jones has been orchestrating this offense has really been incredible. What is your early take of Mac Jones? I mean, because now we're starting to compare him to Trevor Lawrence and kind of comparing him to one of the best quarterbacks, in college football. I mean, Mac Jones has just been unbelievable this year.
Yeah, I think Mac Jones, when you look at a pure passer, he's the best in the country. He's not going to beat you with his legs, but he's going to beat you with his arm. And when you look at a pure passer, I don't think there's another quarterback that can, stand up against him. Maybe Trevor Lawrence, but he's also played a cupcake school, the Citadel, and and Mac Jones is almost just as good at stats as Trevor Lawrence, if not better. And I think that's going to continue. The Mac attack is going to continue the rest of the year, and I think one of these freshman wide receivers are going to step up, and you're going to see Alabama get back to Alabama. I was listening to David Pollock. Him and Kirk Herbstreit do not agree that Alabama is going to – they think that Alabama's done with Jalen Waddle had his injury. And I don't know where they've been the last 15 years, but Alabama has been winning national titles with some of their main stars getting injured all along.
Sure.
And that just goes to show you the depth that Alabama has. And I don't think a lot of people understand the depth that Alabama has because of the recruiting. I mean, sometimes you don't see a 5-star player until they're like junior or seniors. You really don't. And that goes to show you that Nick Saban has a plan. He's got a method, and he's going to use it. And when somebody gets injured, he's got somebody to plug in there. Let's see, David Pollock. Let me tell you two things that David Pollock and Kirk Herbstreit have in common. Are you ready for this?
Let's go.
Neither one of them have won a national championship. That's all I got to say, brother. Roll Tide.
All right. Roll Tide to you, buddy. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I think some good points right here from Cam, who called in from Dothan. I appreciate it, Cam. Thank you so much for calling in. Kind of when you look at the comparison between let me write this down. Between Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence. I mean, here it is on the screen. I mean, and now it's going to get really interesting. I mean, everybody saw the news just a couple nights ago that Trevor Lawrence tested positive for COVID. Now, he's not going to play this weekend against Boston College, and it's kind of unknown if he's going to play against Notre Dame. I don't think he can, but we'll see what happens in that particular matchup. I'd like to see what a healthy Clemson team does against Notre Dame. I think Clemson is going to win either way. They got a very solid backup quarterback. You saw him, DJ Ugalele, who played against Bryce Young last year out of St. John Bosco. That was a very good matchup that a lot of people watched. Call line is open. Call line number is at the bottom of the screen, 205-850-0883. When you compare these two quarterbacks, I think the one thing that I'm going to always point to is the fact that Mac Jones threw for 417 yards against Georgia. I mean, Georgia's defense clearly, I think, is the best in college football. And what Mac Jones was able to do in that specific game really stands out to me. Now, I get it. Trevor Lawrence is going to be successful just because he is a very quality quarterback. But I think the competition, you really have to factor that into play. Mac Jones is going up against a very good defense today, Mississippi State. So my point is, when you compare these two numbers side by side, Mac Jones has more yards in less games played, and I think he's done it against stronger competitions. You look at the overall efficiency of him, 78%. I mean, Mac Jones has just been, he's been phenomenal this year, and I think he's going to continue with that. And, to kind of talk about, Cam's point, talking about, the Alabama is not going to win a national championship or not make a run because of the loss of Jalen Waddle. That's strongly debatable. I think, when you have, a running back like Najee Harris, who could certainly put this team on his back if they needed him to. They've got the power run game, right? Brian Robinson has even been showing signs that he can carry the load if Najee Harris, when he steps out. I think that John Mechie is a guy who really steps up. I mean, he's done a great job through 5 games. Devontae Smith, he's the receiver that nobody likes to talk about for whatever reason, right? It's like Devontae Smith has 45 receptions right now, and nobody even talks about him. Like, nobody even talks about him after the national championship game. It's like, it's mind-blowing that people don't talk about Devontae Smith. I mean, look at this photo right here. I mean, I didn't even know I had this photo in my archives. And I mean, look at this dude. He's just like Velcro. So my point is that Alabama clearly has playmakers across the entire offensive spectrum. But the most important thing as well is the fact that, their offensive line has been playing fantastic. I mean, the offensive line is really the staple and the catalyst of why this offense has been so dominant. You look at the tackles and how they've performed during the season. Evan Neal, Alex Leatherwood. I mean, these guys, this team, Alabama, has the best offensive line in the entire country. And as long as these guys can continue to step up and keep Mac Jones healthy, Alabama is definitely going to compete for a national championship. I mean, who else is out there? I think it's a 3-horse race at this time. I think you got Clemson. I think you got Ohio State, and I think you have Alabama. So we'll continue to see, if this team can really make a push, which I think they will. So I'm against, those takes at Alabama just because of Jalen Waddle. It's not like even Alabama was winning these games because of Jalen Waddle. I think he was just an added element to this team, and losing him, I mean, the most explosive player, it's going to hurt, but nobody does it like Alabama. I mean, it's the depth is ridiculous. Call line is open, 205-850-0883, as we continue to talk about this matchup today between Alabama and Mississippi State. And I'm with you, Jacoby. I want to see some Javon Baker. I think that Javon Baker is a guy that we've talked about many times. I've showed his highlights in high school. He only has 2 snaps this season, which were against Tennessee and kind of some scrap time. But he's a guy who I feel has that alpha mentality that can come in and really take over a game. So, we'll see. But for right now, you got Slade Bolden, who had 6 receptions and 94 yards. And I thought he did a fantastic job in his first showing. Also is the backup punt returner for Jalen Waddle. Good morning, Zero. Appreciate it. I hope, you have a great Saturday. I hope you have a great weekend, and stick with us at 12 o'clock as we'll be back as Sage Ryan is set to make his announcement. Will it be Alabama? Will it be LSU? We'll have to find out soon on, and we'll carry that right here on Bama Insider. All right, Brandon, I think this is a great point, Brandon, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. Smitty can block also. Absolutely. I think one of the things that really stands out to me about these wide receivers, their route running, of course, is phenomenal. Their hands are, of course, phenomenal. But the stock blocking downfield, I mean, Smitty is not a big guy by any means, but I mean, he plays like he's 250 pounds the way he blocks downfield, which is certainly an incredible, sign of the determination that he puts in for the entire offense. Same thing with John Mechie. So I think you bring up a great point. Hey, Greg, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I know you're talking probably about the offensive line because the offensive line has just been phenomenal. Hey, Steven with the super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Means a lot to me that you would super chat me this morning. I get all the super chats, during this particular show. So I appreciate it, man. So thank you very much. It means a lot to me. And then Howard, I miss you, Jalen Waddle. I think a lot of people are going to miss Jalen Waddle because of everything that he brought to Alabama. I mean, not only is, this guy a fantastic player, I think it goes beyond that, the type of person that he is. I mean, you guys have seen the way that he demonstrates himself, the way he carries himself. I have an 11-year-old son, and those are the type of guys you want your son to emulate, right? You want them to be like a Jalen Waddle. You want them to be like a Tua Tagovailoa. You want them to be like a Mac Jones because of the way that those guys carry themselves on and off the field. I mean, how many times have we seen those guys, doing something off the field that, we're not approving of? And I get it. I mean, Mac Jones has had his time where he's, been more of that sophomoric attitude, but the way that he carries himself and the way that he approaches the game has been fantastic. So all those guys, it's going to be tough to lose a player like Jalen Waddle. I wanted to actually pipe in a quick video for everybody because I'm calling it a national holiday. And I think everyone would probably agree with that. Give me 1 second while I get this video for you. I do all the producing on the show myself as well. So a lot of the times, like I'm looking for all this stuff, and it might take me a minute or two. But let me get this set up for you.
Thank everyone for all their
Nick
support
Saban's
that they've
birthday.
given us. We have a great team here. Everybody's contributed to the success of the team, our administration, our athletic administration, all of our supporters and fans. And we thank you and appreciate you more than you know. So thank you very much.
Let me ask you an honest question. I mean, as Nick Saban turns 69 years old today, and happy birthday to the GOAT. Call-in line number is at the bottom of the screen. 205-850-0883 is a call-in line number. Call-in line is open, by the way, too, if you want to get on there and get your call in. Now is a perfect time as the call-in line is free. And I'll take your calls. I'll be here for a little bit more, and then I'll be back at 12 with Andrew Bone to talk about Sage Ryan and, his final decision as, we continue to track what's, the number one recruiting class in the entire country. Getting to Nick Saban, how long, in your opinion, do you think Saban is going to coach for? I mean, he's 69 years old today. And I made this point, and I've said this a few times, that against Georgia, I felt, those couple days that he sat on the sidelines, it almost rejuvenated him. And to see him back, on the sidelines during that game, everybody saw the excitement. Everybody saw the energy. And I think my take was he's not ready to be at home. And my question to you is, how long do you think he's going to coach for? 69 years old. I think his contract, doesn't it go through 2024, something like that? Gregory is saying 77. I mean, potentially. What was the age that Bowden coached to? Does anybody know that? Can anybody do a quick research for me? Bobby Bowden. How old did he coach for? I mean, I'm not, comparing Nick Saban to Bobby Bowden, but I mean, he's getting to that age, right? I mean, anytime you get into the 70s, people are going to start comparing you to the other great coaches that have coached into the 70s. Now, we all know that Nick Saban is the greatest football coach of college football history. I mean, I think, a lot of people are going to point to, Bear Bryant, which you certainly could, but these are different time periods. And I think what Nick Saban's been able to do in a changing world of college football, you kind of look at the beginning of, his coaching tenure, and now I don't know if this is the middle, I don't know if this is the end, but where we're at now, how he's been able to evolve with the game of college football, I think has been really impressive, right? And I think kind of from that offensive mentality, I think early on in his career, at least, the first half, such a heavy implement on the defensive side with a strong running game. And now I think you're Steven saying to at least 75. And I think now you're starting to see, him evolve with a game of college football. You look at what LSU was able to do last year, and I'm not saying you completely throw away the entire defense, but the better players are playing offense. And that is something that he's spoke about recently. And to see how Nick Saban has transitioned to a coach that, is evolving with the game, and you see the offensive production over the last couple of years, I think there's a couple of takeaways. Number one, the continuity of having Steve Sarkisian lead this Alabama offense. I think that has certainly allowed Alabama's offense to get even better. And I think the production of the quarterback and the development of the quarterback has been something that Steve Sarkisian has had a strong role in. However, you look even back to when Mike Locksley was coaching the offense, and even Brian DeBall, you could start to see that evolution of the Alabama offense, in my opinion. And I think right now you're starting just to see it just take off at a very, very high level. And I think when we look down the road at the offense, you start to look at who's next. And we're starting to see some of that, with Jalen Waddle out, who's next? And the quarterback position, as we saw towards the end of Tennessee, I think Bryce Young came in with 10 minutes in that particular game. We start to see what Bryce Young could do. So, but my point is I think that Nick Saban has certainly been able to show that he can evolve with the game of football, evolve, from his offensive philosophy. And sure, he could definitely, run the football with Najee Harris and milk the clock. And if Alabama needs to do that later down the road, they will and they can. But in today's high-paced college football world, you got to let Mac Jones distribute the football, get it out to those very speedy wide receivers, and kind of let those guys make plays in open space. Call-in line is open. 205-850-0883 is the call-in line number. And Steven points out that Bear Bryant evolved his offense as well. And that's probably right. I mean, I don't know the overall history of Bear Bryant, so it makes sense. I mean, to see what he was able to do over a long period of time is incredible. And a lot of these coaches that have that long time success, they're able to evolve on both sides of the football. And I think what you're seeing from Nick Saban is that evolution of being able to change with the game. You're absolutely right, Stephen. I mean, that is exactly what coaches do. They're able to evolve and change and not be so stubborn on particular ways, because I think if you get stuck in, that this is the right way, this is the only way, you're not going to be successful. And I think that goes for really every single business. I mean, I'm a business owner, and we're always changing. We're always coming up with different ideas and, kind of press where the advantage is. And right now, with a quarterback as dynamic as Mac Jones is, and then when you have Bryce Young in the pipes, you got to press where you have the advantage. And of course, when you have a receiver like Devontae Smith and an offensive line, the offense is certainly going to flourish. All right. I'll leave the call line open for a few more minutes, and then I'll be back at 12 o'clock to provide analysis on Sage Ryan. I'll have Andrew Bone on, and that'll be at 12 o'clock. So if you guys could definitely hit the thumbs up button and make sure and subscribe if you're a first-time visitor right here. I would really appreciate it. The thumbs up helps our channel get out to other Alabama Crimson Tide football fans. And if you subscribe, then you'll always be notified when we drop our videos or when we come online. If you're watching on Facebook, same thing, hit the bell so you know that you are going to be notified when we come on and provide our content right here on Bama Insider. We got a caller coming in, and we'll take it right now. Hey, good morning. Thank you very much for calling in on Bama Insider. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, this is James from Jacksonville.
James from Jacksonville. Thank you so much for calling in this morning. What's on your mind? Go ahead.
Yeah, man, like I said in the chat, I'm interested to see what our DBs go do today. I hear we get Ronald Williams coming back today, from the little injury or whatever. And I'm just excited to see what they go do. They go get a good workout today, and I just want to see what them boys go do today.
Yeah, I think you. Thanks for bringing up Ronald Williams coming back. I think that's a very important note. So, in case people missed it, Ronald Williams had fractured his arm during fall training camp, and then after that, he's been out for, I think it was like 6 weeks or whatever. And then Saban said that he should be available for today. So that's an added defensive back. Ronald Williams is a junior college transfer. And I think he could, he's going to get work today, just like you said. What else is on your mind regarding this game, James?
That was it mainly. Like I said, I'm just excited to see what the DBs go do. I'm going to be keeping a toasted count today, and we'll just see how it goes.
All right, James. Well, thank you so much. We have, remember, following the game is the post-game call-in show, and that's right after the game. So definitely call in, join us, and, you could keep the toasted points. Hopefully there's not too many to keep track of. And we'll wrap with you after the game. Does that sound good?
Good deal.
All right, James, you enjoy your day in beautiful Jacksonville, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Most definitely. Roll Tide.
All right, roll tide to you. That's James out in Jacksonville. Appreciate it. He's keeping the toast account. Hopefully it doesn't get too high for James, right? Hopefully he doesn't have to do too much work. Like I said, fam, hit that thumbs up button, like and subscribe. This is the call-in line number. Write it down. I used to have an old call-in number and then I changed it. This other line, it makes more sense and it's kind of our system that we use. So 205-850-0883 is the call online number. Definitely mark it down. And then after the game is the post-game call-in show right here on Bama Insider. I'll take your calls. It basically works like this, and we'll talk about the game, and we'll have a great time and kind of rehash everything that we learned from Alabama and Mississippi State. It'll be a late one. We'll probably push into the SEC after dark. That's what I like to call it when we start going past that midway point. So we'll take your calls, and we'll have a good time. And, it's Halloween. So if you have, your little kids out there, definitely make time and, catch the game, and also make sure you're spending time with those little ones because it certainly is fun. I got 2 of my own, and, they're certainly growing up fast. So the post-game call-in show is following the game right here on Bama Insider. Hit that subscribe button so you can be notified when we do go live, and we'll have we'll have a great time talking Alabama and Mississippi State. All right. So I'll be back here at 12 o'clock right here on our YouTube channel as Sage Ryan announces his decision. Will it be Alabama? Will it be LSU? Stay tuned for more on that right here on Bama Insider. It's going to be a big day for Alabama. It would certainly be even bigger if Sage Ryan does commit to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Hang tight, folks, as we'll be right back 12 o'clock noon right here on Bama Insider. Sage Ryan makes his college announcement. Kyle Henderson. I'll be with Andrew Bone, 12 p.m. Be sure and like and subscribe, and we'll catch you soon right here on BamaInsider.com. Thank you for watching me this morning, and catch up with you guys at 12 p.m.